Since being appointed as border czar, Kamala Harris has undoubtedly been a complete failure in her job and has destroyed our country by releasing record-setting levels of criminals, murderers, rapists, and terrorists into our communities. And to get an idea what 73,000 people look like, here is the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. This holds 71,000 people. 73,000, and we have no idea how many more, is how many special interest aliens are in the United States, and DHS does not report it. My bill would require DHS to publish on their website each month the number of SIA encounters and countries of origin. The American people deserve to know the number of potential terrorists Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have allowed to come into the United States. After all, the American people are the taxpayers. They pay to fund DHS and everyone that works inside the entire department. They fund the government, and they have the right to know who is coming across their border, if they're terrorists or not, and which countries they come from.
This bill will do nothing to improve national security. In fact, it would be giving bad actors real-time information about enhanced screenings our law enforcement is conducting, and this legislation would actually make our communities less safe. Rep. Greene's bill would require CBP to publish sensitive national security information every single month. Essentially, it would be giving bad actors around the world real-time updates, folks, on DHS operations and intelligence reporting. This bill isn't about security.
Border czar Kamala Harris said, "Do not come," yet proudly welcomed over 12 million illegals from over 170 nations and territories, including over 2 million known gotaways who completely evaded U.S. authorities. Included in this 12 million are special interest aliens, also known as SIAs. Special interest aliens are individuals who pose a potential national security risk to the United States, typically from a nation that promotes terrorist activity or harbors terrorists. Under the Biden-Harris administration, there have been at least 73,000 special interest aliens arrested at our border. This does not include the potential SIAs among the 2 million known gotaways who weren't arrested and are now roaming American communities. I say at least 73,000 because the truth is that we do not know the current number since DHS does not publicly release it anywhere. In fact, the only reason we even have this number is because it was leaked to the press. Shocking that that's the only way Americans know. I'd like to remind everyone, it only took 19 terrorists to kill close to 3,000 Americans on 9/11 and wound more than 6,000 Americans. The American people deserve to know how many and from which countries these potential terrorists are coming from, which is exactly what my bill will do. According to the former chief Border Patrol agent for the San Diego sector prior to the Biden-Harris administration, the sector averaged only 10 to 15 SIA arrests per year. He testified, once word was out that the border was far easier to cross, San Diego went to over 100 SIAs in 2022, well over that in 2023, and even more than that this year. The number of special interest aliens has skyrocketed, and even more egregiously, this administration has tried to cover it up. The administration of Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and Secretary Mayorkas told the chief Border Patrol agent that he was prohibited from releasing any of this information on the increase in SIAs or mention any of the arrests. Prohibited. The administration was trying to convince the public that there was no threat at the border. They are complicit in covering up the complete invasion at our border.
Recognize the gentlelady from the great state of Illinois.
Thank you. It is a great state indeed. Thank you, Chairman. Look, this bill is another plea to stoke fear and push all the anti-immigrant rhetoric right before the election. Last week at a full committee hearing, Republicans actually argued that Democrats were being misleading on border issues while trying to use some chart that had mistakes left and right, misinformation everywhere. I guess they believe that facts and statistics, let me say it again, are misleading. This is all to shield from the fact that this do-nothing Congress under Republican leadership has been the least effective, folks, since the Civil War. Is it any surprise that today, the last day we're in session, before the November election, that Republicans are bringing 20 bills to markup? Folks, there's no coincidence. Up until today, we've considered very, very little legislation, trust me. No one is fooled by today's actions. And it's been painfully misleading to listen to my Republican colleagues bash immigrants at every single opportunity they get. They've called them terrorists, criminals, freeloaders, other things that I won't mention that my colleagues here call them. They've spread dangerous lies around racist narratives about migrants that have affected our communities and our constituents. But folks, it's also misleading that Republicans have blamed the administration at every turn for an increase in fentanyl and a crisis at our southern border. And then up until really today, they've pretty much blocked any attempts to seriously legislate. Republicans can say that they're taking action to help people. But folks, the American people clearly see the inaction of this Congress. You can't get the votes. We're leaving today on a CR because you can't get your votes. I believe we should be taking up measures in this committee that actually help our communities. Measures like HR 1643, the New Deal for New Americans Act, which helps immigrants and refugees thrive, integrate safely, and contribute to our community. There are so many bills that we should be working on, but what we're doing here is actually helping terrorists get information to make our country less safe in homeland security. So this bill, all it does, folks, let me make sure that you hear this. All that this bill does, that the gentle lady from Georgia has introduced, is tip off terrorists by providing them the information to help skirt out security measures. And while doing that, she of course has to make sure that we stoke fears about immigrants in the process. This is a horrible, scary bill, folks. I oppose it, and I encourage the rest of us, if for no other reason, for the security of this country, to also oppose it. I yield back.